Hi, welcome to What's So Great About Shakespeare. I'm David Bishop, and this is What's So Great About Hamlet, Part 6. There's not much left of this scene, Act 1, Scene 5, but there's a lot to say. I'm going to start by, I got up to the point where the ghost exited after speaking to Hamlet and saying that how he was killed and Hamlet must take revenge. He says, "Remember me." And if he forgets him, then he won't take revenge. To not take revenge is to forget his father and the murder of his father. And it would be just like the fat weed that roots itself in east on Lethe Wharf. Forgetfulness. But no, Hamlet is going to take revenge, he thinks. So the ghost exits, and Hamlet, I'll go through his first speech and then I'll come back. The ghost goes, "Adieu, adieu, adieu, remember me." And then Hamlet says, "Oh, all you host of heaven, oh, earth, what else? And shall I couple hell? Oh, fie! Hold my heart, and you, my sinews, grow not instant old, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee? Ay, thou poor ghost, whiles memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember thee? Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pressures past, that youth and observation copied there, and thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven, O most pernicious woman, O villain, villain, smiling, damned villain, my tables, meted as I set it down, that one may smile and be a villain. At least I am sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, writes it down, there you are. Now to my word. It is adieu, adieu. Remember me. I have sworn it. The vow of revenge, this vow of revenge, is like everything else in this play, a little strange when you look closely at it. The ghost goes out, adieu, 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 sort of recalling God, but so does goodbye. It comes from God be with you. And yet it's an emphasis that raises in Hamlet's mind the specter of God, who is against revenge. The Christian God is against revenge, personal revenge. But the king, the person in authority, is God's representative on earth, and so has not only the okay of God, but the responsibility to see that crime is punished, and justly. Punishment fits the crime. But what happens when the main officer of justice is also the criminal? That's the situation Hamlet is confronted with. He says, "Oh, all you host of heaven," appealing to, looking to the stars, but also all the angels in heaven and everyone. "Oh, earth, what else? And shall I couple hell?" Heaven, earth, and hell, these are the three worlds. And Hamlet is saying he thinks that they all want Claudius punished, and he must do this for their sakes. His father's death is an outrage to God. Therefore, God wants Claudius punished. Of course, God can send Claudius to hell. He can also forgive him if he repents. God can send Claudius to hell. On earth, O heaven, O earth, earth, do you see this? Can you punish this? On earth, that would be the punishment of the judicial system coming from the king. So earth demands that this crime be punished. And so is what else? And shall I couple hell? Does hell demand that this? Does hell demand? Well, I mean, if Claudius has damned himself by this killing, then hell is saying, okay, you're coming here. So all the powers, all the worlds are in favor of Claudius being killed. Oh, fie. Shall I couple hell? Oh, fie. He's not sure about it. It's sort of fie, like, no, that can't be it. But a little bit of doubt, maybe. Hold, my heart. And you, my sinews, grow not instant old, but bear me stiffly up. You may remember that Hamlet once said, oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. It can't, because he's too young. His sinews are too stiff. His flesh is too solid. He's young, and so he's got ages to go before he dies. But he can't kill himself because God is against that. Here, his sinews are growing instant old. But he doesn't want that now. And bear me stiffly up. He's got a job to do. Remember thee, I, thou poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. His head. Of course, it was a little joke that the Globe Theater was where it was all happening. Remember thee, yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pressures past that youth and observation copied there. And thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven, O most pernicious woman, O villain, villain, smiling, damned villain. Now at this point, he is ready to take revenge, maybe on his mother, but he can't do that because his father always said, don't taint thy mind by doing anything to thy mother. Leave her to heaven and to those stings that in her bosom lodge. Thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. To say his brain is a book is another sort of odd thing, like that he may sweep to his revenge with thoughts as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love. There's a whole lot of things mixed here. O villain, villain, smiling, damned villain, my tables, meet it as I set it down, that one may smile and be a villain. At least I'm sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. Now to my word. It is adieu, adieu. Remember me. I have sworn't. This is very odd because he says, I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pressures past that youth and observation copied there. He's comparing it to tables. He has these tables. It's like a notebook, but it's probably a piece of ivory or something that he could write on with a pencil and later wipe them away, as he could copy them onto paper. He just carries around this notebook in case a thought comes to him. But after having said he'll wipe away all trivial fond records, he pulls out his tables. My tables, meet it as I set it down, that one may smile and be a villain. I mean, it seems like he knew that already, back at the beginning, Seems, madam, nay, I know not seems. His grief is real, unlike some who pretend to be grieving when they're really not. These are actions that a man might play. The actions of grief are actions that a man might play. So you'd think that one may smile and be a villain, sort of a not a very great insight, but you could be startled by this if you were an innocent young man. Hamlet is a very young man. He's innocent in a way, gullible, you might say, but he's really into purity. His mother's not pure. Sex is impure. So he says, meet it is, it's right that I set it down, that one may smile and be a villain. At least I am sure it may be so in Denmark. This is a joke. At least I'm sure it may be so in Denmark. This is like Hamlet's hyper-philosophical, logical mind, taking care of every logical possibility, One may smile and be a villain. Is that true through the whole world? Well, at least I'm sure it's true in Denmark. And this logical, like caricature of logic in Hamlet's mind. We've seen this before. When he said the ghost went by and he was supposedly in full armor, and Hamlet says, "Oh, if it's in full armor, then saw you not his face?" "Oh yes, my lord, he wore his beaver up." And Hamlet says, "What was his complexion? Pale or red?" "Nay, very pale." You see the logical possibility of pale or red falls apart because ghosts are pale. But that's a little joke. And here is also a little joke about Hamlet's over logical, quest for the truth. At least I am sure it may be so in Denmark. These are the words of a young, naive boy, really, close to a boy. So, uncle, there you are. Here I said, one may smile and be a villain, at least in Denmark. And he's written it down on his tables. Now, to my word, his promise to revenge. It is adieu, adieu. This is what the ghost left him with. It is adieu, adieu. Remember me. I have sworn. So he's sworn to take revenge, and presumably that's what he's going to do. At this point, Horatio and Marcellus come after him. And they don't see him as first because it's dark. He may be at the other end of the platform. So they're calling out, my lord, says Horatio. Marcellus, Lord Hamlet. And Horatio says, heaven secure him. They're worried about whether he might go mad from seeing the ghost. Hamlet, aside, says, so be it. He's again swearing, I'll take revenge, so be it. And then Marcellus says, hello, ho, ho, my lord, And this sounds a little like what falconers call out to their birds to come back to the arm. And so Hamlet picks up on it. Hello, ho, ho, boy, come, bird, come. So now they find him. Marcellus, how is it, my noble lord? Horatio, what news, my lord? What news? Hamlet, oh, wonderful. Wonderful meant not only wonderful, but also wonderful. You never guess it. It's a wonder to find this out. Horatio, good my lord, tell it. Hamlet, no, you will reveal it. Horatio says, not I, my lord, by heaven. Marcellus, nor I, my lord. Hamlet, how say you then, would heart of man once think it? But you'll be secret. Aye, by heaven, they both say. Hamlet, there's never a villain dwelling in all Denmark. It seems like he's going to say as bad as the king. There's never a villain dwelling in all Denmark, but then he rethinks it. He doesn't want to give this away. But he's an arrant knave. So villains are arrant knaves. It's a tautology. It means nothing, adds nothing. And Horatio says, there needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this. Hamlet says, why, right. You are in the right. And so without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part. You, as your business and desire shall point you, for every man hath business and desire, such as it is. And for my own poor part, I will go pray. And Horatio is like, these are but wild and whirling words, my lord. Hamlet, I am sorry they offend you, heartily. Yes, faith, heartily. Horatio, there's no offense, my lord. Hamlet, yes, by St. Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offense too. Touching this vision here, it is an honest ghost, that let me tell you. For your desire to know what is between us, or master it as you may. And now, good friends, as you are friends, scholars, and soldiers, give me one poor request. Horatio, what is it, my lord? We will. Hamlet, never make known what you have seen tonight. Horatio and Marcellus, my lord, we will not. Okay, the swearing has started, but I want to turn back a little, and you see how Hamlet is already seeming a little crazy to them. There's never a villain dwelling in all Denmark, but he's an arrant knave. There needs no ghost to tell us this. So Hamlet doesn't want to tell him anything. Or master it as you will. Your desire to know what is between me and the ghost, or master it as you will. I'm not going to tell you. There needs no ghost come from the grave, my lord, to tell us this. Why, right, you were in the right, and so on. And I will go pray. That's sort of lost in the mix. I will go pray. How do you pray when you have just sworn to take revenge? It's like you've just sworn to commit suicide against God's will. So then you pray? What does that mean? But again, God is part of the mix. Words come out like adieu that remind us that God is around and personal revenge is out. However, the king, as the head of the justice system, is supposed to punish crimes. And Hamlet is the heir to the throne. So what happens if the king is the criminal? Who is supposed to punish him? Well, you might say the heir to the throne, Hamlet. He's supposed to take over because the king is criminal. King is a tyrant, a murderer, a usurper. Anyway, so Hamlet is going to go pray, and maybe he will find that he can convince himself and God that it's up to him to take not revenge, but to kill Claudius anyway, in justice. There's no offense. Yes, by St. Patrick, but there is. St. Patrick, well, it's a There was he's supposedly the patron saint of purgatory, and there was a cave that was known as St. Patrick's Purgatory, where pilgrims went to spend the night and so on. But this is again God coming into it. Saint Patrick. This is, reminding us that God is around. And a saint, would a saint take revenge? So why, by the saints, I'll take revenge. It's kind of queasy. It's all mixed up. Yes, by St. Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offense too. Touching this vision here, it is an honest ghost, that let me tell you. He immediately believes the ghost is telling the truth. For your desire to know what is between us, or master it as you may. And now, friends, give me one poor request. Never make known what you have seen tonight. Keep it a secret. They have seen the ghost of the old king, Hamlet's father, walking. And they've seen Hamlet go off after it. And they've seen him come back seeming a little nutty, if not crazy. So no one is supposed to know what's happening here. They're not supposed to tell anyone. And in fact, as things go on, apparently they don't. You could say, that, Marcellus might say, well, I think I better go tell the king about this. But in the rest of the play, he told them to be quiet, and they swore to be quiet, and they are quiet. No one else knows about the ghost until Hamlet tells Horatio more about it. So you'd think that he would have them be quiet about the ghost to avoid rousing, suspicion and paranoia in Claudius, and learning that Hamlet is, if he learns that the ghost came walking and the ghost is dead, ghosts often tell, about, I was murdered. So it would worry Claudius, and Hamlet wants to keep it quiet now. Never make known what you have seen tonight. My lord, we will not. Nay, but swear it. In faith, my lord, not I, says Horatio. Nor I, my lord, in faith. Marcellus says. Hamlet, upon my sword. Marcellus, we have sworn, my lord, already. This is a little crazy. They've sworn, and now swear again on my sword. Hamlet, indeed, upon my sword, indeed. Ghost cries underneath the stage. Swear. He's on his way down to hell, to purgatory, apparently. Swear, says the ghost, comes up from under the stage. And Hamlet, aha! Boy, say'st thou so? His craziness, he's gone crazy a little. Art thou there, Truepenny? He addresses the ghost. Oh, art thou there, you honest ghost? Come on. You hear this fellow, he says to Horatio and Marcellus, you hear this fellow in the cellarage. Consent to swear. The ghost says to swear, Hamlet says to swear. And so Horatio, propose the oath, my lord. Hamlet, never to speak of this that you have seen. Swear by my sword. Ghost, swear. They swear. So they probably put their hand, he holds his sword up like a cross, and they put their hands on it, indicating they swear to never speak of this that you have seen. Pretty hard to do, but they do it. And so the second time the ghost says swear, it's supposedly coming from another place under the stage. And Hamlet says, hic et ubique, here and everywhere. He's over there too. Then we'll shift our ground. So I suppose they go to a place above where they think they heard it that time. Come hither, gentlemen, and lay your hands again upon my sword. Swear by my sword. Never to speak of this that you have heard. Before it was never to speak of this that you have seen. Now it's never to speak of this that you have heard, which includes the swearing. So they've heard the voice of the ghost. They've seen the ghost, but now he disappears uh, as they come in to meet Hamlet. But now they hear the ghost. So this is evidence of the ghost again. Never to speak of this that you have heard. Ghost, swear by his sword. Hamlet, well said, old mole, digging through the earth. And see, this is craziness. Huh? Well said, old mole. This is its antic disposition. Canst work in the earth so fast, meaning he's moving under the ground. The swears come from different places. Canst work in the earth so fast? A worthy pioneer. A worthy pioneer. Once more remove, good friends. So they move over to where they heard that swear come from. A worthy pioneer. A pioneer was, I guess, a part of the army, a soldier who would dig tunnels and then put mines under the enemy's positions. Secret mining. That's what a pioneer does. He moves through the earth, tunneling. Horatio, oh, day and night, but this is wondrous strange. He doesn't say, oh, heaven and earth. He just says, oh, day and night. But, it's a way of swearing. Hamlet, and therefore, this is wondrous strange, says Horatio. And Hamlet says, and therefore, as a stranger, give it welcome. Well, we've heard one thing we ought to do is give strangers welcome as they're passing through. But this is wondrous strange, and therefore as a stranger give it welcome. Kind of a weird thing to say. But he wants them to accept it and believe it. But he also doesn't want them to talk about it. As a stranger give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. This is not Horatio's personal philosophy. It's just, your philosophy. In a college, you have your mathematics, you got your philosophy, you got your religion, so on. But to say your philosophy is a little bit belittling. It's just your philosophy. So Hamlet is belittling philosophy, which they have both been studying together. This is why Hamlet is so logical. At least I'm sure it may be so in Denmark. But come, here as before, never, so help you mercy, how strange or odd, however, he means some'er I bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think it right, to put an antic disposition on. Antic is foolish. An antic is sort of like the king's jester. Antic disposition means I'll act a little crazy. And I'm doing that because I'm putting it on. I'm faking it. And you're not to say anything that you know anything about me. I saw the ghost. No, don't say anything. If you see me act a little crazy, it's not because I really am crazy after seeing the ghost, and that you might want to report to the king. It's because I'm pretending to be crazy, and I don't want you to reveal this. As I perchance hereafter shall think it appropriate, to put an antic disposition on, that you at such time seeing me never shall, with arms encumbered thus, or this head shake, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase as, well, we know, or we could, and if we would, or if we list to speak, or there be, and if they might, some who would say the truth about what happened, or such ambiguous giving out, to note that you know aught of me, this do swear, so grace and mercy at your most need help you. Ghost, swear. They swear, put their hands on his sword again. Grace and mercy are, you know, things that God can give you. He can give grace and mercy even to a murderer who sincerely repents. So grace and mercy at your most need help you when you're in bad shape. Okay, ghost, swear, swear. Hamlet says, rest, rest, perturbed spirit. So, gentlemen, with all my love I do commend me to you, and what so poor a man as Hamlet is, so he's the prince, so it's a little antic disposition already. What so poor a man as Hamlet is may do to express his love and friending to you, God willing shall not lack. If you go along and keep my secret, I'll do you a favor sometime, or I may. Yeah. And then Hamlet says, let us go in, back into the castle, together, and still, that means always, and still your fingers on your lips, I pray. He says, the time is out of joint. O cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go together. There's a little interruption, Come in with me. And then he pauses. The time is out of joint. O cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go together. See, they don't know what that means. But to Hamlet, it's a curse that he is the one selected, the obvious one, the son of his father, to take revenge. He's also the prince, and he has a responsibility to see that crimes are properly punished. But if the crime is by the king, they had no answer for that. I mean, the king was supposed to be good, but if the king was bad, there was no impeach the king. The only thing you could do was revolt. Kill the king, take over, and that was a lot. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern later say that the king the king falls not alone, but the whole country goes into chaos when the king falls. And Shakespeare says elsewhere, anyone who I don't know of anyone who killed a king and prospered after, who got away with it. So the cursed spite is that Hamlet is likely to be killed because of this if he tries to revolt against the king. And even if he isn't, hell is yawning. I mean, he's committing revenge, which is bad enough, but revenge by killing the king. And that would get him sent to hell. But the king is a criminal, so heaven, in a way, wants Claudius to be punished. And Hamlet later says, heavens have pleased it so that I may be their scourge and minister, that I may do the job for them. So is Hamlet punishing Claudius on behalf of God, on behalf of earth, the justice system, the whole running the kingdom, so it's preserving the sanity and health of this whole state. That's Hamlet's job. He's the prince. It's more so the king's job, but it's also Hamlet's job. Well, this antic disposition that Hamlet is about to put on, I'm going to say something about this which is not said by anyone else that I know of, and it will be controversial and people will say it's all wrong and so on. But I will give you my reasons. I will argue the point with you that there is a reason that Hamlet thinks of this. I'll put an antic disposition on. We start, our first premise is with Hamlet, who is highly intelligent, thinks a lot about stuff. And at one point, he criticizes himself for thinking too precisely on the event. The event is what will happen if you do a certain thing in the future. And we still say, in the event of rain, the picnic will be postponed. The event is what we wait to see, the reality of what we hope will happen. Instead, we do this thing hoping for something, and then the reality follows, the event. So Hamlet is, he thinks about all the things that might happen, the possible futures. And the event, it seems quite obvious in this case, is the killing of Claudius. So Hamlet can follow a logical course of reasoning very, very fast. That's my premise. So that when he swears to revenge, the consequence of this will be presumably that he takes out his sword, he kills Claudius, and Claudius drops dead and is bleeding to death on the ground, or killed dead, and Hamlet is standing over him with a bloody sword. This is the event. And what's going to happen next? This is one thing Hamlet is thinking about, concerned about. Is he going to be killed? Is he going to go to hell? Is the state going to fall apart? What will happen when he kills the king? I mean, look at, he doesn't like Denmark having the reputation of drunkenness. What happens if the usurper kills the king? Well, that's bad news. That's not good for the reputation of Denmark, the sanity and health of this whole state. So I say that Hamlet looks ahead to the event and he thinks about what will happen after it. He kills Claudius. Claudius is dead. Hamlet's there with a bloody sword in his hand. Then what happens? And the answer is given, I think, later on, because what Hamlet envisions here, he's desperately trying to find a way out of this. I mean, if he kills the king has given him, let's say this, the king has given him a secret. And the problem is that it's all secret. The ghost gives Hamlet truth about Claudius' crime without proof. There is no earthly way to prove in a court of law that Claudius murdered his father. Only the word of the ghost, who is not going to appear in the witness box. So Hamlet has this truth, and he's supposed to act on it. His father has told him the truth, and that's all they need. He murdered my father. I must now kill him. This is the old heroic ideal, as I call it, or some say the revenge ethic. Very old, tribal, you might say. And it's mixed in Hamlet with other things. Not only, I mean, here's his first duty to his father, kill the king. Does the father worry about the state falling apart? No. Does the father worry about Hamlet going to hell, even though he's in hell? No. All he wants is Hamlet to take revenge, but he's supposed to leave his mother to heaven. You know, consistently, logically, he would both leave his mother to heaven and leave Claudius to heaven. But that doesn't sit right with us because we want Claudius to be punished and we think heaven wants Claudius to be punished. And hell is just waiting for his soul to show up. So Hamlet, I say, gets the idea that if he kills Claudius, there's one possible way out. This is a Hail Mary pass, and that is to claim that he was crazy. Who does it then? Hamlet's madness, not Hamlet. This is what Hamlet says to Laertes after he kills Polonius, thinking he is Claudius behind the arras. He excuses that crime in the way he was planning to excuse it when he killed the king. He says, I was mad then, but now I'm okay. And Laertes is, he wavers. He's not sure. He still is out for revenge. He's not going to give Hamlet this way out, or is he? Laertes starts to change. At that point, he says, I'm going to go ahead with the plot to stick him with the poisoned sword. And yet it is almost against my conscience Laertes says. So the plea of madness works a little bit, and Laertes keeps on changing to the point where he testifies against the king as he dies. So that excuse of madness worked in part. I do in part believe it. Laertes says it is almost against my conscience. Nothing is pure. So this is my theory that I'm offering up, that Hamlet now thinks of killing the king and claiming he was mad. So he has to establish his alibi. So he's going to say, I may think meet to put an antic disposition on, but don't you tell anyone. So he's going to convince everyone else that he is sometimes mad. He's a little crazy, and sometimes he might have a fit of madness and do something like kill the king. Well, this is not an ideal plan. It's not a very good plan, but it's the only plan Hamlet can come up with. And so he's off to establish that he is crazy. And at the same time, he is kind of going crazy, because he's got to keep it in, and go on living in the court when he knows that Claudius is a murderer, but he's got to hide that. Hold my tongue, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. Cursed spite that ever I was born to set it right. How is he going to set it right? So here's the antic disposition, which I'm saying is a beginning of the building of an alibi so that he can kill the king and say he was crazy, which is exactly what he does when he kills Polonius by mistake. He uses up his alibi on Polonius. So now what does he do? But we'll get to that later. For now, and this is something you just can't pick up the first time through, which may be a big problem with it, but they're underground meanings, underground connections that take time to become evident. And I think it's intended by Shakespeare to work that way. Other people will say, no, they never know. What is this antic disposition? It doesn't make any sense. Well, I say it does make some sense, because it's working up to the excuse of madness to kill the king. Okay, well, I guess the point is made for the moment about all these things operating in them. I will go pray. Heaven demands justice for the king, but heaven demands not taking revenge. Hell wants Hamlet to take revenge, to kill the king, so his soul will go to hell. And also Hamlet, hell is just waiting. Come on, let's do it. Get down here. And earth, here is the sanity and health of this whole state. How can he do this? Won't the state fall into chaos? How can he say, I killed the king in madness, but now I'm okay. Now everything's fine. That's what we'll get to next time. See you later.